What's going on, YouTube fam? I want to come back with another video, and what I want to go over in this video is how a $100 investment made me into a six-figure trader. And I basically want to go over my story with you guys. Now, some of you might have heard my story before, and I'm pretty sure others of you, a lot of you, have not heard my story. And I feel like when I tell this story, it's going to actually be very relatable for a lot of you. You will actually understand where I'm coming from, who I am as a person, because some of you might have the perception of like, oh, I'm just a Forex trader and I just want to make money in this market. But really, I came from a really long development into who I am today. And it all started about 5 years ago. I was 17 years old at the time, and I was just at a point in my life where I was like the average 17-year-old. I was partying a lot, I was drinking a lot, I was just doing dumb things. I was getting in a lot of trouble. And as I was growing up all throughout my middle school and high school career, I was the ideal problem child. I was getting in so much trouble, not just with my school, but out of school. I was hanging out with the wrong people, and that's one thing that a lot of you need to realize, that you are who you surround yourself. And there's a quote that says, birds of the same feather flock together. I was flocking with the wrong people. I had the wrong people in my life. At a very young age, I got introduced to smoking, and it really messed up my life, honestly. It made me go down the wrong path, and for a very long time, I was just making the wrong decisions. And I was living in the moment. Like a lot of us, were always living in the moment for that short-term high. So at the age of 17, I was basically coming out of this stage where I was just constantly getting in trouble, doing the wrong things, and like kind of transforming into like finding a job, doing something with my life, because my relationship with my father was basically getting ruined because I was getting in so much trouble. My dad was tired of having me come home sewing like weed, constantly getting phone calls from the police saying, you need to come pick your son up because he got caught at the beach for possession of alcohol, constantly getting calls from my school saying, your son's being suspended. And he was like, done. He was about to kick me out of the house, and he said, you need to change your ways and you need to look for work. So of course I went and looked for work. I went and looked for a job at a lot of places. I went to McDonald's, I went to Marshall's, I went to Macy's, I even went to Ralph's, the grocery store, and that's where I thought I had my breakthrough. But I can honestly say I am happy that I didn't get that job, that I failed the drug test. And I was so close to getting that job. I remember going through the whole application process and then taking the drug test, and I was like, knowing the drug test was going to come, but I was still smoking at the time. And I was like, all right, well, if I don't smoke for 24 hours, because it was a swab test, the one where they go through your mouth, I don't think that I'm going to come up positive for the test. So I didn't smoke the day before the test, and I thought I'd be fine. And the test came back. I remember about a week after that, they called me, the manager of the store. She's like, hey, Colt, I saw that your drug test came back positive for marijuana. I don't know if that's true or if something came up fishy, but we can retake the test if you want. And I just admitted to it. I was like, you know what, I honestly was smoking weed a couple days before. I didn't know that I was going to have to take a drug test, to be honest. I was kind of like bullshitting the call, but overall I was saying like, I'm not interested in the job, it's fine. And she was like, well, you could apply 6 months down the road. So I was like, well, should I wait 6 months to reapply to that place, a place that I really don't want to work, or should I go and try something new? And I don't know about a lot of you, but when I was growing up, I used Craigslist a lot. I used to sell little iPods on there, stuff like that. And I was very in touch with Craigslist. I knew how to use it very well. So that's where I went. And I put a job application, or I put like a job title on Craigslist saying, I need a job ASAP. And then through that job title that I put up, I actually got a couple of scam opportunities. There's one where I was working for this guy on Craigslist, and he was like, all you have to do is post 10 ads on Craigslist. I'm going to send you a check for a couple $1,000s at the end of the month. And I was like, all right. I did that for a couple weeks, and I got the check sent to me, and I went to a cash-in place to actually cash the check, and it was a fake check. So I was like, well, that's not going to work. And then my breakthrough, my real breakthrough, was when I actually got a call from this guy named Marvin Jones. He gave me the opportunity to come into a sales position for a multi-level marketing company. So it's like a sales position where I'd come in, I'd sell a product that they had, and I would actually be able to recruit people under me, and as they sold products as well, they would make me money. So I kind of learned how to do sales. I met people in the industry that were already making a six-figure income, that were killing it, and I actually did pretty well. I started making sales, I started doing well with the company, and then it got to a point where the company actually went down, because one of the products that we had was the hoverboards, and the hoverboards literally went viral for a year straight. Everybody wanted them. They were the hottest product on the market. and I was selling them like hotcakes. I would have people come to the storefront and actually buy like 10 hoverboards at a time. So I was absolutely killing it. I started making a lot of money doing that, and then I was like, wow, this is actually working very, very well. And that's when I was like, all right, well, this is a great way to make money. I had saved money throughout the process of selling those. And then it came to a point where the company went down because the media, the news came out with these horrific stories about hoverboards catching on fire, and they were burning people's houses down. And obviously we had the good hoverboards where they weren't catching on fire, and it was fine. So the company that I was working with actually had the better hoverboards. They had better quality. The batteries in them were Samsung lithium batteries, so they weren't bursting into flames and having the alkaline from the battery actually start the fire. So as soon as that came out, like, news spreads a bunch of controversy, fake stuff all the time, and everyone saw that, and they're like, well, I'm not getting my kid a hoverboard, because at the time they were described as toys. Everyone wanted them, especially children wanted them. So their parents were like, okay, I'm not buying a hoverboard for my kid. I'm not having my house burned down to please my kid for a toy. So the hoverboard fad went down immediately. Nobody wanted them anymore. And that's when the company I was working for kind of went out of business. There was no more business to be done. And that's when I was like, well, shit, what am I going to do? I learned how to do sales. I started making money within this company. And then all of a sudden it went down. And that's when I was introduced to the whole Forex concept. I basically came into a program, a company. It was a multi-level marketing company again. And I immediately was intrigued by the whole opportunity, because when I was looking at these people's Instagrams that I was going to partner up with, they had the lifestyle that I wanted, that I now have today. And it's so crazy because so many of you probably look at my Instagram and you're like, holy shit, this kid's living life. But I was the same way a couple of years ago. When I first started in the Forex markets, I didn't have any knowledge. I didn't know anything about investing until I actually took action on the opportunity. So I was introduced to the company. I came in, and I was kind of manipulated by my mentors to just recruit people, because a lot of people in the company, they weren't using the product. They weren't using the service of learning how to trade Forex. So with me, I was doing the same thing. I was just recruiting people, kind of bullshitting people in a way, lying to them. And it got to a point where I built a pretty big team. And I had one of my top leaders, Chris, and he was very close to me. We worked very close with each other. And it got to a point, and then one day, I got a call from one of his downlines, someone that he had recruited into the business, that he had got hit by a car. He was dragged under the car for 5 minutes. On the way to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. And again, that was another failure. My business that I had built for months, if not a solid year, had completely been destroyed because one of my top leaders has passed away. And I had just lost so much motivation after that. I was done just lying to people, being this fake individual, acting like I was living this lifestyle that I really wasn't, that I was someone I really wasn't. At the end of the day, I wasn't who I claimed to be. And that's what a lot of people on Instagram are doing. They're faking it till they make it. And I 100% was doing that. Obviously, I'm not doing that today. That's not me anymore. And it came to a realization point in my life where I was like, I am so tired of who I am, who I'm trying to pretend. I need to take time to self-develop. And I started surrounding myself with better mentors, people that were actually really seeing massive success in their life. And they taught me a lot of things about myself. I learned a lot of things about myself that I never would have learned if I never would have had these mistakes in my life. So I want you guys to know that you're going to have trials. You're going to have errors in your life. You're going to make these mistakes. And a lot of us, when we have these certain mistakes come into our life, we're thinking of these failures as a devastation. Like, it's the end of the world. It's never going to be okay again. And we have to use these mistakes as learning lessons. So that's exactly what I did. I used these mistakes as learning lessons so I could learn more about myself. And that's when I was basically just doing so much self-development, trying to find myself, trying to be a person of value in the marketplace. And I still had the skill of trading Forex. I knew how to trade Forex a little. And that's when I was like, all right, I want to learn how to trade Forex on a very high level. I want to know actually how to do this the right way. And that's when I took money from the previous company. I invested over $10,000 to properly learn. I took one of the best courses out there that is no longer available. And it literally revolutionized everything. I learned how to trade Forex, things that I had been trying to learn for the past year, literally within a week. And I used all these strategies that I had learned and kind of developed my own strategy from trial and error, trying to trade on my own in the market. And over time, I developed a couple of strategies that actually worked for me. And I was like, wait, so if I'm now making money in this market, I'm doing good, I want to start teaching others how to do this as well. And I taught a couple of my close friends how to do it. They started seeing results as well. Then as I started to make more and more money trading, I started to live this lifestyle. I started to do exotic rentals where I started driving Lambos, and I started posting on my Instagram, just living this crazy lifestyle. And that's what attracted other people to reach out to me. And that's when I started to teach other people I had never met online how to trade Forex. Then I developed my courses where I have a bunch of teachings all put into one course, and there's a bunch of information within that course. So I can tell you guys that I honestly started trading with $100. I lost that money. I re-put money into my account. And if I never would have made that investment into myself, into those companies, into that second multi-level marketing company to learn Forex, I wouldn't be where I am today. And it all started with a risk. And so many of us nowadays, we're down to our last penny. And I was too. I had to use some of the last money I ever had to take another risk into this company. And I did, and it 100% paid off. But the reason as to why it worked is because I worked. And so many of you nowadays, you're like, well, why is he seeing more success than I am? Why is he doing this and I'm not doing that? It's because you're not putting in the same work that other people are living. And don't judge your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. I'm living this crazy lifestyle. I have the knowledge, I have the education that you do not have, that most of you do not have, simply because I am further ahead of you. I did things that you guys aren't doing yet, that you haven't done yet. And that's not to hate on you, that's not to be mean. It's simply because I have been through certain things that you guys haven't been through yet. And that's fine. You guys are going to go through these things as well. You guys are going to have different experiences that are going to make you into who you are. And that's all. And that's what I want you guys all to focus on, is being unique, being yourself. So many of us nowadays are trying to be fake, trying to be someone else because we see somebody else living this lifestyle. We're like, all right, well, I want to do exactly what they're doing. Let me act how they're doing. Let me do what they're doing. Let me post the content that they're posting. And that's when I lost myself, when I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. I was trying to do what other people were doing, and I wasn't myself. I wasn't authentic at the end of the day. So I challenge you guys to be real with yourself, find out who you are, and the best way to find out who you are as an individual is to do self-development. If you guys don't read already, I highly recommend that you do. A great book to start off for any entrepreneur, any investor, if you're trying to just better yourself, is Think and Grow Rich. But guys, thank you for coming on this video, for hearing me out. I hope that there are some of you actually that watched this full video and that wanted to actually hear my story. But if you guys could, please subscribe below. There should be a button, and I appreciate you all subscribing to this channel, actually hearing me out, listening to my videos, and I will see you guys later on the next video.